Sanye Chudo Zoge Chonamla, Chanju Vardo, Dane Gyapsu Che, Dage Jinso Kebe, Toba Binju Sanye Dubarajo, Sanye Chudo Zoge Chonamla, Chanju Vardo, Dane Gyapsu, Dage Jinso Kebe Sonamge, Toba Binju Sanye Dubarajo, Sanye Chudo Zoge Chonamla, Chanju Vardo, Dane Gyapsu, Salvation Soge, Sonamke, Dola Hongir, Sangye Rubara Sho. I go for refuge until enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha. I make emulations for practice of giving, so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha. I make emulations for practice of giving, so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. I make emulations of practice of giving, so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. The next page. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Abhavam Hetum Tesham Datagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Bhakti Mahashamanaye Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Dathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Bhakti Mahashamanaye Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Bhakti Mahashamanaye Swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes is taught by the seer. Okay. From the morning, the anecdote which we shared this morning about the magician and the person who was trapped in the magical illusion, seeing that it's so real and emotionally disturbed, lost. So from this we got a feeling that that our emotions arise on the basis of our belief that things exist objectively real. Did you get some sense out of this story? Did you get some sense? Okay. And so to now understand how there's no objective reality, like the movie projection, how there's nothing really movie, there's a movie coming from the screen, but it's all coming from the projector, like the subject. So for this, we are so addicted to seeing things as object real. So addicted. Although we learn about emptiness, we meditate on this sometimes, we get some feeling that you better feel that things don't really exist subjectively. You get a little bit of goosebumps, a tinge of fear, these things happen. But again, we are being once again washed away by the belief in objective existence, anger, attachment, all these things arise. So we see that this how weak we are. So now what should we do? For example, say in a war, say your enemies, the number of the size of the size of the army is like 100,000 soldiers. And in your case, let's say that in your case, the population is huge, but the soldier preparation, the number of the soldiers It's just like 10,000. So what will you do?
Recruit.
Recruit. Yeah, recruit. Recruit. You have so much of the wealth of the human population you have. Recruit. So likewise, your enemies, afflictive emotions, rooted on self-grasping, ignorance, self-centered attitude, is a huge size army. There's so much of soldiers there, afflictions, so varieties, strength. So what do you do? In our case, the soldiers to combat, virtuous soldiers to combat this, is the army is so small in size. So what we do? We recruit. Recruit meaning? Recruit the subjectivity, subjective all the time. All the time the opposition says objectivity, objectivity. Now what do you have to say? Subjectivity. So look at the mirror, look at the what is rainbow, right? It is subjective. Look at my dream. Yesterday I had a dream of this and this and this. So real, but it's subjective, right? And then I saw this person so bad. Later on, I discovered that my early impression was subjective. Person is so nice. And then the person seems so selfish. Later on, I come to discover that the person is so much a problem. When you are in so much a problem, automatically, then to defend yourself, you will behave in such a way not to let others come in, let others step in your space. So therefore, this I interpret as selfish. It's not selfish. It is, person's in desperate situation. So it's subjective. You increase your thought, think about subjective more. Then naturally, your thoughts, think about objective will be minimized. This is the only way how to counteract the negative, the emotions. Okay. So in other words, we have to think of the examples. And don't think that I'm not really smart in philosophy, I'm not really smart in physics. Don't think that like this. We all have the potential for the potential Buddha nature. We all have the Buddha nature, which means that the Buddha is the greatest of the philosopher. Buddha is the greatest of the physicist. You're getting it? He knows everything. And you have that seed. You have that seed to know everything. So don't underestimate yourself. So what should you be doing? Your job is, don't worry, other people do so good. Yourself, you also have the Buddha nature, same. Only thing is that some people may take more time, some people may take less time. Why less time? Because they may be exposed to this kind of philosophy from the past life. For example, look at sometimes when I say that, in my case, for example, say I studied for so many years. And then there was one physicist, 2005. And there's one physicist, of course he must be hitting 80s or maybe late 70s. He first wrote an email to being a physicist, so many questions are coming in his mind. And many of these questions not answered. You don't get in physics. So, who could give this answer? He was thinking, this was what he told me later on. That, His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So he wrote, Dear Dalai Lama. Right, he wrote. And he got the address of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, office of His Holiness, and then wrote, Dear Dalai Lama, I have this question. Please give me an answer. His Holiness has hundreds and thousands of emails coming, so how can you expect, His Holiness return all these emails? And the secretary said, checking the emails. And the secretary, interesting, this is a physicist. It's a physics question, philosophy related. And then I was newly connected with the office of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And the secretary forwarded this email to me, saying that you give answer to this question. So I give the answer to him. And he was so happy. He wrote back to me. And I said, if you really want more detailed answers, this is not how in emails will not give the answer. You have to meet me separately for about a week. Only then you may get something. And he said, yeah, I'm ready to come wherever you are. So we met in Debon. When I was going to Debon Monastery, then I asked him, invited there, and we spent about a whole 10 days in Debun discussing philosophy on emptiness, and I was so impressed. We studied for all these many years, and he had no exposure to philosophy of emptiness, and explained emptiness. Within few days, almost like whatever I learned, he got it. I was so impressed. You're getting it? So it doesn't mean that simply because that it takes longer for you, doesn't mean that you are incompetent. So learn something. What if you learned, for example, say somebody who's so smart and who's who learns things so fast, and you learn a little slow, and then you finish your undergrad. Then you go to a different place. Different place, you can directly join masters. You don't have to join the undergrad again. You can directly join masters. And the people there will be fascinated by you. Wow, she is a quick learner. He's a quick, no, you learned already from the other university. So likewise, some of the people who seem to be quick learner, they actually are somebody who is exposed to this philosophy. And in fact, physics, philosophy, they are very similar in terms of concept-wise. So they are already exposed to these things from the past life. So this life is easier. So therefore, if you want yourself to be seen as something special by others, then study well in this life. And next life you become very special. You're getting it? This is very true. Okay. In fact, again, these things you will not hear. It was the interview conducted. Professor Francisco Varela, who was one of the pioneers of the Mud Life Institute. He was a brilliant biologist and neuroscientist, a world-renowned neuroscientist. And he passed away. And he's very brilliant. I was so fascinated. Even my teacher, who is one of the giants of philosophy, psychology and logic, one day, when I must be in my 20-something, when I was with my teacher, wherever you in the big monastic universities you go, thousands and thousands of monks there, you go just mention his name, everybody knows him. And sometimes I think that when we send some parcels or like the post the mails through post, you don't really need to give the details of him. You just say Geshe Pandit Thapa, and then you say the Depu Monastery, right, in South India, and it was there. No details required. For us, we require all the details, the house number, lane number, everything required. For him, no need. Just Geshe Pandit Thapa and the monastery. Everybody knows him. He will try to go there. No confusion. This is Paul. Once he said that, the first conference that I attended, there's one young scientist. He's so brilliant. Later on, I came to discover that it was Francisco Varela. He's very bright. And then I saw him. Of course, I met him. I was in my 20s, 21, 22. And he was already maybe in his 40s. And later on, I saw some of his talks, and extremely profound, natural philosopher, of course, as a scientist. Then why I'm saying this is that look, what you are today, that determines your next life. So he passed away. And he passed away young meaning he was 60 or 61, he passed away very early, big loss. And then after his passing away, a group of people, they wanted to make some documentary films on him. And they wanted to interview His Holiness. So I was there as a translator of His Holiness. And the interviewer asked His Holiness that, Your Holiness, where do you think the Francisco Varela has taken birth? What kind of birth he has taken? His Holiness is very practical. He's not at all naive, dogmatic, not at all, extremely realistic, because this is a document related to a scientist. His Lord says, if rebirth exists. He's not taking for granted rebirth exists. Right? Because the audience is non-religious, non-believers. For them, oh, he took rebirth like this. How do you know? These questions will come. So his Lord said, if rebirth exists, he will come back again as a scientist. This is what his Lord said. In front of me, this is what I heard by my own ears. So what I'm saying is that you study the Dhamma so well, philosophy so well in this life. So next life, right? Next life, somebody teaches about Nalanda, the text and so forth. Instantly you can connect this with your Buddha nature, how to activate it, how to see the reality as it is, and so forth. All these you can connect it so easily. So this is your habituation. And then the next life, people around you, other boys and girls, will be so fascinated. How come that this girl, all these brilliant thoughts come to her? It's only because that you brought it from your past Thosamling retreat. You getting it? Okay, so what I'm saying is that what we learned today, this is what we carry to the next life. This is so for this, therefore, in this life, we make sure that we don't waste our time. Okay, so how not to waste our time? Think about this subjectivity more. That things all subjective, things all subjective, things all subjective. Look at my dream, I saw it as so real, I was so scared. It was purely subjective, not really objective. And then then you go a little deeper. For example, like say that what is the color of this? If you have never seen, if you only see very, very fading red, you see this very red. And somebody who's seen really red, they will see that this is just a fading red. So how you see is purely subjective. And how good is a person? Subjective. And then go deeper, let's say, what is this? Some of us will say this is, let's say, what is this? What is this? Most of us will say this is water. And the physicists will say this is a bunch of atoms, electrons, protons. It's a very different perspective. And so whose perspective is correct? Your perspective that this water is correct, or the physicist perspective? There's no water, it's just electrons, protons, and neutrons. Electrons, protons, and neutrons, they're dancing in the air. Just that. There's no water in the air. Whose perspective is correct? Both are correct. Okay. If you say the both are correct, emotional feelings attached to the object is very different. When you see this water, when you're thirsty, you feel like drinking it. When you see a bunch of electrons, protons, neutrons, you don't feel like drinking it. You don't feel attached to it. But when you see water, you feel attached to it. So your emotions that arise as a result of these two different perspectives is very different. So, look, this is very important. When you look at it, you see as water. The physicists under electron microscopy, these are just a bunch of electrons, protons, neutrons suspended in the air. And if you say both are correct, in the second case, they don't see water. They say there's no water in the air. In your case, you say that yes, there is water in the air. So there's water there, there's no water there with respect to one object. These two are contradictory. Okay. Okay, let's say Shoheli or Sheheli. Shoheli or Seheli. Some people say Seheli, some people say Shoheli. I'm confused. Shoheli. Let's say Shoheli, which month you are born? June. Okay. Say, if people say Shohel is born in June, is it correct or not correct? We know the information. We already got the information from Shoheli. Shohel is born in June, correct or not correct? Somebody says Shohel is born in non-June, correct or not correct? Huh? Not correct. Why not? Raise hand. Yeah, Ms. Biela.
She's born in June.
No, June is fine. So why non-June is not correct?
Rest of the months are all in June. That's why.
Yes. So non-June and June, these two are contradictory. If somebody is born in June, it cannot be born in non-June. You're getting these two contradictory. So to say that this is water and this is non-water, these two are contradictory. If it is contradictory, the two cannot be correct. Both cannot be correct simultaneously. So who is correct? This is water. You say this is water, and physicists would say this is Panchavikshan illusion. There's no water. So what they say is no water, and what he says is water, this is contradictory. So who is correct? Both cannot be correct. Anyone? How to resolve this? And you deep inside you know that both are correct, but I cannot answer it. Because that to be born in June and non-June, these are contradictory. So water, no water, this is contradictory. So I cannot answer it, but both are correct. How do you explain it?
It's the subjective versus the objective.
Meaning?
So the water is objective, June is subjective. We've created the idea of June.
Water is?
Objective, because we didn't create it.
Okay, so what is made of two hydrogen and one oxygen?
Wait, say it again?
What is made of two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen?
Right, so that's...
Hydrogen is not water?
Hydrogen is not water.
Oxygen is not water?
No.
So there's no water there. Our mind created it. Just as June is created by mind, even though water is also created by my mind. Objectively, there's no water there. It's just two hydrogen and one oxygen.
There is water there.
Where? There is June there. There is June there, right? So today is April, right? You can't say that today is June. There is June there. Okay, anyone else? Yes.
Convention based on language game.
So the question is, Shoheli, the same person, born in June, born in non-June, both cannot be correct simultaneously because these two are contradictory. It cannot happen with one person. The same object, one object being water and being non-water, simultaneously it cannot be correct. But you said both perceptions are correct. So how can that be possible?
It's the convention based on the language family. For the scientists, they explain it as a combination of atoms, a certain combination of atoms. And for non-scientists, it is water. Even for the scientists, it is water, but their language explain it as H2O.
But they don't see water there. They don't see which is flowing. Electrons, protons, neutrons. Right? So there's no water there. Whereas you are seeing water, something flowing. Scientists, they don't see anything flowing. It's just atoms hanging in the suspended in the air. It's not about, for example, let's say that with the language, let's say that it's quite good. Say this word, this sentence is quite good. What do you mean by quite good? Is it perfectly good, very good, or does it mean very good or not? So. Now ask Manjiri-ji. It's quite good. What does it mean by that?
It's all right.
All right meaning?
Meaning it's so.
Okay, anyone else? Here, Omar. Say what does it mean? What do you understand by it's quite good in England?
In British English, quite good is so.
No. Omar has originally extremely beautiful British English. Okay. But I would say that what I learned can be from one part of Britain, may not be to all, but what Omar is saying maybe from another part. Okay, in Cambridge, one of the professors, he was my friend, and he's a part of the group who invited me, my host, for me to improve my English. And once in a while he was teaching me English. He was a Dorji. Dorji in English, it is quite good. Doesn't mean it's so. It's quite good means very good. In English, when you say it is quite good, it means it's very good. And Britain, if you say, how are you doing? They will say that they look at you with a very strange face. If you say, how are you doing? Perfect, you are part of them. How are you doing is language, but it's wrong. Grammatically, it's wrong. How are you doing? It should be, how are you doing? But if you make the correct grammar, they will look at you like this. You're not a native English speaker. How are you doing? Everybody will include you as part of them. Okay, so what I'm saying is that the language, so some people will say that, okay, I'm quite good, I'm so. In other places, I'm quite good means I'm very good, you don't have to worry, right? This is a language issue, but here it's not a language issue, this is subject matter there. One is water, which means something which you can drink, something which flows. And the other is bunch of electrons, protons, neutrons. Nothing flows. And it's not something that you could drink and quench thirst. The concept of it is very different. So how can you say that both are correct?
Like when we see something very closely, suppose a painting, I'm just holding in front of my face, I can only see the pigment. But if I just stand
Distance.
With distance, then I can see the colors. So likewise, when I'm saying it's water, but when I'm looking inside and very closely introspecting the whole thing, there's a bunch of atoms and neutrons, protons in there. So it's how I'm looking, how I'm perceiving the things.
So in a way, what Shoheli is saying is that when you describe things, what is this? Water, non-water, we cannot describe it 100% from the object. It depends on the frame of reference. Your mind has a frame of reference. When you look at it very closely, you see just electrons, protons, neutrons. You look at it from distance, the frame of reference is moved, is changed. The frame of reference, what is the frame of reference? Subject or object? Subject. Louder. Subject. You getting it? It depends on the frame of reference. So with the painting, if you look too close, you just see the pigments. That's it. You don't see the painting at all. You just see the pigments. And wherever you look at, it's just pigment there. From distance, you can see the picture. You're getting it? So, it is not purely objective. It depends on the frame of reference. From which frame you are perceiving the object. If you use the subject from distance as a frame of reference, you see it one way. You use your mind as a subject very closely as a frame of reference, you see it another way. You're getting it? Say, very closely you see just bunch of electrons, protons, and neutrons. But from distance, you see as a water. Okay, my question to you is, let's say group A and group B. Group A looks at it through naked eyes. Group B looks at it through electron microscope. I ask group A, what is this? Water. Group B, what is this? Bunch of electrons, protons, neutrons. You getting it? Bunch of protons, neutrons, electrons, protons, neutrons. Okay. Which means that what you perceive is not 100% from the object. It depends on the frame of reference, your perception. Your perception is object or subject? Subject. Now, the fact that you use group A sees this water is because that you look at it from a particular frame of reference. Your mind, with a particular frame of reference from distance. Group B, you see that there's no water there, it's just a bunch of electrons and neutrons. It depends on how you interpret on the basis of your mind as a subject, as a frame of reference from distance. One is, no, from you very close, and you very distance. Okay. Which means that it is, what the object is on the basis of, it depends on how you perceive, yes? Frame of reference. Hey, this is a very important question.
Yes.
Yes? Now, my question to you is, I'm not interested in the subject which is looking at it. I'm interested in this object. So just remove the two frames of reference. Remove the two frames of reference, right? So when you look at things from distance, when you look at things from close by, remove the two frames of reference. So when I don't remove the two frames of reference, I ask group A, you say this is water. So that's on the basis of how you perceive it. Group B, I ask what it says, Panchalikshan says no water. That's how you see this. My question to you is, remove these two subjects. Remove these two frames of reference. My question, what is this? What's the answer? Huh? Water is on the basis of how group A sees. With the frame of reference of the group A's perception. I said remove the two perceptions. What is this object?
Matter.
Matter. Okay, so the matter meaning what?
It's something.
Something meaning
It's something.
not water.
Exists. Yeah.
It's not water.
Well, it's not water.
It's not electrons, protons, neutrons.
Proton, neutron. It's just something that exists. Like that's there.
No, what is that something?
I.
Okay, so what did you hear your name?
Dhruv.
Okay, did you all hear what Dhruv said? That there's something there, something as a matter there. You're getting it? Okay, now, whatever is something as a matter, something is a matter there, even that something as a matter is seen by something, some frame of reference, right? So the same object is a something, seen closely, seen from distance. Seen from distance, seen as something. Seen closely, again it disappears. Right? So what is now what is left? Even though something is also gone. Now what is left? Something is left.
This is water, but for group B, this is a collection of two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom.
Did you follow me quite?
Hydrogen as per single atom is not water, and oxygen is not water. But the collection, when they come together, two hydrogen and oxygen, we can drink it.
Okay. So two hydrogen and one oxygen come together. This is water.
That we can agree with them.
No. What you are seeing is just let's say that, okay, for this you have, okay, how many, your name? Sonal Gumela. How many agree with Sonal Gumela? Yes, that's wise answer. It must be a PhD student. PhD student? No? Then what are you doing?
I've done engineering.
Huh?
I've done engineering.
Oh, it's an engineer answer. It's engineer's answer, right? Very good answer, very good answer. H2O, two hydrogen, one oxygen, it doesn't matter. It's water, you drink it, it's drinkable. Hydrogen not drinkable, oxygen not drinkable. Two hydrogen, one oxygen put together, then it becomes drinkable. This we agree. You're getting it? This engineer's answer. Wonderful. No, I have no qualm. I agree. How many agree? Raise hands. Raise hands. Okay. Look. Those people who think you agree with Sonal Gumela, you must work with Shohaili. You're getting it? Shohaili will tell you that individual pigments, they're not pictures. Individual pigments put together, you're getting it? Put together. Even put together, right? So put together, you look closely, this is pink, this is red, this is blue, this is green. They're put together, still there's no picture there. You getting it? Only from distance you see a picture there. You getting it? Okay. If you're not convinced, you have to either you meet with Shohaili or you must watch the NASA companies, the NASA's documentary film. NASA's documentary film. To see the world from the micro and the macro. Macro is a different story. Micro meaning to see the world more closely. For example, this is a flower. You look at it more closely, you see just a bunch of atoms. And then it must relate to your experience. You're getting it? It must relate to experience. For example, let's say that, okay, just look at the person who's sitting next to you. Look at the person sitting next to you, on both sides. Okay, you found that person, you understood the person. Just imagine. Suddenly, right? Suddenly, if everybody disappears, what will you feel? Scared. Why scared? Why scared? Because you were expecting people around you, and then suddenly there's what you earlier expected, and outcome, this was just opposites. One way you see the people around me, and suddenly there's people around me. There's stark contrast there. You're getting it experientially. So likewise, you see this water, and you look at through NASA companies, the micro, going to the macro world. So with NASA company, what it did with the leaf. With the leaf, you must watch it. So that is known as power of 10. The powers of 10. Powers of 10. This is a term. You just Google search it, you'll find it. Powers. There are several of them coming up. Several of them. And I particularly, them, almost all of them are very good, very helpful. The powers of 10. The powers of 10. TN10. Particularly there's one documentary film which is extremely good. So this, if you're interested, I will forward it to you. I'll forward it to you. Or otherwise I'll leave it with the Nunnery, Thosamling office. You can contact Thosamling and they will send that to you. Right? This link, this one particular document by NASA. NASA itself did several of these. Okay. So there is a leaf. First you see the leaves there, a real leaf. Then it zooms in through the electron microscope. It zooms in, you start to see the cracks there. The initial leaf is so beautiful. For example, like our hands, my hand is not really beautiful. It used to be very beautiful when I was 7 years old. Very beautiful. Complexion is amazing. Say, when each one of us, when we were age like 7, 8, 9, 10, the texture, the complexion, everything's so nice. You look at the electron microscope, you zoom in, you start to see the cracks. As a little boy, girl's the skin, from distance you don't see any cracks. It's just perfect. When you look through electron microscope, it's not perfect. You'll start to see the cracks. What are these cracks? These cracks are the cell divisions, meaning the what do you call it? Cell membranes. Cell membranes. Partition the cells partitions. These are they come and form the cracks. Then you go deeper, then you see the nucleus inside. Nucleus. And then this what do you call it? Cell membrane, nucleus inside, and the cytoplasm. You see the fluid there, cytoplasm, and then you further zoom in through the nucleus. You see the chromosomes, and the chromosomes, they don't look really beautiful as how we see in the textbooks, like X and so forth. It's very like a striped, brownish, snake-like structures. It's not very repulsive. It'll give you repulsion. Earlier, so beautiful, so perfect. You go in, there's nothing beautiful there. It gives you some repulsion. Say, people around you and suddenly people disappear, then you feel a fear. Your emotion changes. Likewise, emotion changes. Initially, there's attraction. Now the repulsion comes with the same object. Then with the chromosomes, you further zoom in, then you see the DNA molecules. Further zoom in, then you see the atoms. Further zoom in, and then the other atoms, and then the protons, the nucleus, and then the electrons. Stop there, because this is what physics could do at the moment. Cannot go beyond this. Okay, this is how. So what we see is that with the same object, initially this attachment is so perfect. In fact, I was 7 years old. I so well remember. Even today, I was just 7 years old, and nothing to do as a little boy. And my mother passed away when I was 5 years old. My father, he was struggling with his own life, going for the business here and there. And we were, the three of us were just in the school here, and almost 12 months in the school, and nothing to do, nobody to give special attention to you. What is your homework? Nobody asked, right? And then nobody asked. As a young boy, what did you do? You go around like this. Suddenly, there was a retention wall there. Retention wall. It was a beautiful spring. Retention wall there. And I just happened to lean my hand on the retention wall. And the sun was maybe from behind. And it hits the two hands. It's so beautiful. It's amazingly beautiful. I was so fascinated by my own hands. So now the same is terrible now. Okay, so what I'm saying is that what is seen is so beautiful. Attraction comes. Same object on the electron microscope. Under electron microscope, we see the chromosomes. Then the repulsion arises. Then you see the atomic level. It becomes neutral. So same object can trigger three different emotions. You getting it? Attachment. Aversion, attachment is being glued to the object. Aversion, pushed by the object. And then neutral. So all three are triggered by the same object. You getting it? So what made these three different emotions to arise by the same object? Due to different perceptions. You're getting it? Different perceptions. So therefore, if you learn how to change the perceptions, we can change emotions. We can regulate emotions. From sadness to happiness, from agitation to calmness, we can deregulate, and we can you can regulate your emotions. This is so important. Okay. So from this, what we see is that as Shohili said, that the painting is there, and if you look at it very closely, you see the pigments. You don't see the painting. From distance, you see the painting. You getting it? So from this, what we're going to learn here is that the same object can be seen in two different ways. One from distance and one from close by. Okay, so now this is the only way how to look at the object, how to interact with the object. How do you interact the object from distance or from close by? This is the only way. So the mind which engages with the object from distance is known as conventional analysis. Mind which engages with the object from distance is known as conventional analysis. A mind which engages with the object from close by is known as ultimate analysis. Okay, let me repeat it. So, given that the emotions arise when your mind interacts with the object, and when the mind interacts with the object in two different ways, the mind can be classified in two forms which interact with the object. The mind which interacts with the object from distance is known as conventional analysis, and the mind which interacts with the object from close by is known as ultimate analysis. So, it's a matter of frame of reference. What the object is not determined by the object per se. It is determined by the frame of reference. The mind as the frame of reference, whether you're using the conventional analysis or the ultimate analysis. So, having said this, many of you already said, like what Shohili said, and what our philosopher, Lotus Lab, what they said is that the same We look at the same object, both are correct, both perceptions. You water, this person needs no water, both are correct. Why? Because we are looking at the same object from two different frames of reference. What are the two frames of reference now? Technical term? Conventional analysis and ultimate analysis. You getting it? Okay. So in other words, in short, all our minds, whatever, however millions and trillions of minds they are, all can be classified into two categories. For example, like, do you agree with me that all the people here, we can classify into two groups, males and non-males? You agree, not agree? No, males and non-males. Agree, not agree? Hey, louder. What are the newcomers? Louder. Don't say yes. Yes. Hey, newcomers. What did I say? To what statement that I made you said yes? What is that statement? You forgot.
Did you agree or not agree?
Agree, not agree to what? All the people here can be classified into two groups, male and non-males, yes?
Yes.
Good. Okay. All minds can be classified into conventional analysis and ultimate analysis. You getting it? Okay, my question to you. If that's the case, you look at, from distance you see a forest. A mind which sees a forest from distance. Is this conventional analysis, ultimate analysis? Conventional analysis. Okay. And you go into the forest, you don't see the forest, you see the individual trees. Is that conventional analysis, ultimate analysis? People here? Conventional analysis. And some say ultimate. How many of you would say conventional analysis? Raise hands. How many say ultimate analysis? Raise hands. And what about those people who did not raise hands? Okay, so let's put a question mark. This is a very serious question. Okay. Now, another clue that I'm going to give you is that object as seen by the ultimate analysis is known as ultimate truth. Object as seen by the conventional analysis is known as conventional truth. Let me repeat it. Object as seen by ultimate analysis is known as ultimate truth. Object as seen by conventional analysis is known as conventional truth. Two truths. You getting it? Okay. So now, let's say that, okay, objects as seen by conventional truth, conventional analysis is known as conventional truth, and objects as seen by ultimate analysis is known as ultimate truth. Okay. If you ask me, what is ultimate truth? Only emptiness is ultimate truth. Only emptiness is ultimate truth. You getting it? Only emptiness is ultimate. How empty is ultimate truth? If you want to know this, first you have to know what emptiness is. Once you know this, then we will pursue this question. How empty is ultimate truth? For the time being, what we learn is, of all the trillions and infinite number of things that exist in the universe, if you are to ask what is ultimate truth, it is only the emptiness. Emptiness is ultimate truth. All others are conventional truth. You getting it? Okay. Having said this, my question to you again. Seeing the forest from distance, the mind which sees the forest from distance, conventional analysis, ultimate analysis. Conventional analysis. And how many of you have realized emptiness, in a sense? Wow, everything, there's nothing, everything is empty of objective existence. Who realized emptiness, raise hands. Who did not realize emptiness, raise hands. What about those people who did not raise hands? Half? Huh? Okay, so let's say that, and if you really understood emptiness, I bet you will not come to this class. You getting it? 100%. If you do come, you came to check on me. You getting it? Okay. So therefore the point is that let's say that we don't understand emptiness. Emptiness is very subtle phenomena. Okay, my question to you. The mind seeing the forest from distance, is that conventional analysis, ultimate analysis? Conventional analysis. My next question. The mind which sees, you go into the forest, you don't see the forest now, you see the individual trees. The mind which sees the individual trees, conventional analysis, ultimate analysis. So earlier, there was some people who said it is conventional analysis. Raise hands. Who said conventional analysis? And earlier, there are some people who said this ultimate analysis. Raise hands. Okay. So, if it's ultimate analysis, then what's the object that's seen by that mind? No. Individual trees. Individual trees, are they emptiness? No. Are they gross or subtle? Very gross. So it cannot be, it is not ultimate truth. Because it's not ultimate truth, the mind analyzing that is not ultimate analysis. You getting it? Okay. So having said this, let's say that group A, who looks at this through your naked eyes, what is this? Water. So what is that mind which sees this as water? Ultimate analysis, conventional analysis. Conventional analysis. Okay, group B, you are looking at through electron microscope. What is this? No water. It's a bunch of electrons, protons, neutrons. No water. Or this is just electrons, protons, neutrons. What is this mind? Ultimate analysis, conventional analysis. Huh? Conventional analysis. Ultimate analysis. How many say ultimate analysis? Reasons? How many say it is the ultimate analysis? Reasons? The mind which sees this as just bunch of electrons, protons, neutrons. Electrons, protons, neutrons, are they emptiness or not? No. Are they subtle or not? Even the scientists of no philosophy concept, they also saw the electrons, protons, neutrons. Right? Huh?
Sorry, they're subtle, but not subtle enough.
They are not subtle enough to be called as emptiness. They're subtle. They're subtle, but not as subtle enough to be called as emptiness. Right? So therefore it's not ultimate analysis, it's conventional analysis. Good.
One question. Like when you're asking whether it's conventional or ultimate analysis, I mean conventional or ultimate analysis of what? If you're asking...
Of the object.
Of the object.
Yeah.
So in the first case, if it's the conventional or ultimate analysis of the forest...
Not the forest, this object.
Oh, water. Yeah.
Not water, this object.
Just this object in your hand.
Yes. Water means you already take into for granted conventional analysis. Okay. Good. So what we learn here is that anything which is seen by the ultimate analysis, valid ultimate analysis, this qualification. Anything which is seen by the valid ultimate analysis is ultimate truth. Anything which is seen by the valid conventional analysis is conventional truth. Let's not forget it. Okay, now we're going to plunge into a very important point. Heart Sutra. Form is empty. Emptiness is form. Form is no other than emptiness. Emptiness is also no other than form. Okay, where is it? Just show this from the book, Heart Sutra. Don't be lazy, open the book. Hey, don't be lazy, open the book. Heart Sutra.
29.
Page 29. Okay, page 29. Turn to page 29. Form is empty. It was empty. Form is empty. Empty is the form. Empty is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In Tibetan, su tomba wo, tomba yi su so, su le ja tomba yi shemai, tomba yi le su shemai no. Okay, now look. This is a very profound 4 lines. In the first place, of so many scriptures, teachings the Buddha gave on emptiness, Heart Sutra, just like 1 or 2 pages, that's considered as the heart of the teaching on the perfection of wisdom. Within this heart, from this essence of the perfection of wisdom sutra, the quintessence, essence and essences, the quintessence is this 4 lines. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Form is not other than emptiness, emptiness is also not other than form. You getting it? How do you understand this? Now you are going to understand this. This is very important. Okay, the first, let's say this flower, the form. Flower is form or not? Form. Group A, looking through your naked eyes. Group B, looking through X-ray microscope. Group A, what do you see? Form. Group A, what do you see? There's no the flower form there. No flower form. Flower form is empty. Group B, through electron microscope. You getting it? Okay, now, what's the first line? Form is empty. What group A sees as physical form, as a flower, is empty for group B. What group A sees as form is empty in the eyes of the group B, ultimate analysis. In other words, what is seen by conventional analysis as a form is empty of form for the ultimate analysis. Because they don't see the... Okay, that's a flower. What group A sees as a flower is empty in the eyes of the group B. Group B, bunch of atoms, no flower. You getting it? Are you following me? Yes. Let me repeat it. What group A sees as a flower is what group B sees as no flower, empty of flower. Which is just a bunch of atoms, no flower. Okay. So, flower, what group A, or what conventional analysis is flower, is empty of pink flower for ultimate analysis. This meaning of form is empty. What's the second line? Emptiness of form. What group B sees as emptiness of flower is what group A sees as a flower. Emptiness is flower. You getting it? Okay. Next. What's the next line? Emptiness is not other than the flower. Emptiness is not other than the form. Emptiness is not other than the flower. So what group B sees as emptiness is not other than what group A sees as a flower. Flower and non-flower, these are the same object. Same object. These two are not different objects. What's next? Form is also not other than emptiness. But group A sees as a form, as a flower, is not different from what group B sees as non-flower, emptiness of flower. You getting it? This is so important. In other words, the first one, form is empty, is talking about the ultimate truth. Emptiness of form is talking the conventional truth. Emptiness is not other than form is not other than emptiness, which means that the two truths are not to be seen as two distinct entities. It's the same object seen by two different perspectives, two different analyses. You getting it? Okay, good. We stop here now.
Bodhi Swami